Hi, I'm State Senator Ed McBroom, and March is Reading Month. It's always a great opportunity to share love of learning and try to instill in every child the value of reading. There's so much material to read, so many great books. If you don't like one type of book, there's another type. Encyclopedias, journals, biographies, science, hunting, fishing, fiction. There's just so much out there. And so if you haven't found the type you like yet, keep looking. As dairy farmers, this is a book that my kids and I particularly always like, called What About Emma by Ken Rush. Our cow barn is old and red and really big. I like to watch the cows line up at milking time. As soon as my dad opens the gate, they file right into the barn. I get to hitch Emma up to the milking machine. Emma's my favorite cow. She's a big brown Swiss who's going to calf this winter. I squirt my brother Pete in the face with a shot of warm milk and say, "Gotcha!" "Bullseye!" Pete laughs as he squirts me back. For supper, Mom serves up our favorite, chicken pie. Finally, Dad puts down his napkin and looks straight at Pete and me. We get real quiet. I guess you kids know times have been hard. Your mom and I have done about all we can to keep the farm going, but the price of feed and new equipment has gotten too high. Now, with the milk price so low, well, we just can't afford to run the farm anymore. I've got to take a job down at the mill, and Mom's going to work more hours at the store. "We won't be milking?" Pete cries. Mom looks at us. "We're still a farming family. We'll plant vegetables and keep chickens and ducks and a few goats, but we'll have to sell the cows." My voice trembled. "What about Emma?" Mom came over and hugged me. "Honey, I know how you feel about Emma, but she's going to calf soon, and that means we can get a fine price for her now. We can sure use the money." "Can't we keep her until she calves?" I ask. Dad's been quiet. "Okay," he says. "We'll keep Emma, but just until she calves, and then in the spring, we'll have to sell her and the calf." On the weekend, the last cattle truck pulled up, and the driver counts while Dad and Mom push the cows in. "That's it," Dad calls, and the truck gate clangs shut. Cows moo and the truck starts up. Suddenly I hear another moo coming from the barn. It's Emma. She doesn't like being alone. I run to her and I grab the stiff brush and I give her a good rub. I clean her stall and make sure she has plenty of hay and grain and water. "I'll take care of you, Emma. I'll keep you nice and warm all winter." After school, Pete and I take Emma for a walk out in the woods. "I'm going to ride her," I announce. "Cut it out. You can't even get on her." I jump, and after a few tries, I manage to pull myself up. It's hard to get balanced, but Emma doesn't mind. "Giddy up, Emma." I pat her big neck, and she just stands there and swishes her tail. After a week of practice, every time I climb up on Emma and say, "Giddy up," she starts right up and heads straight to the barn. "Stop it," Pete scolds me. "You're turning that cow into a trail horse." With the weather getting colder, I take shorter rides. It gets dark early, and Emma's belly is really big. She seems restless. Dad comes home from work and looks at Emma. "When's she gonna calf, Dad?" "Well, she's past due now," he says. "She's as broad as this old barn. We'll give her one more day, and then we might have to call the vet. Make sure Emma's got lots of hay. We're in for a big snowstorm tonight." We finish up our chores, and I take an extra bale of hay and spread it in Emma's stall. After dinner, we cozy up to the stove. We can see the snow's coming down hard. I'm just remembering, Dad thinks, stormy nights like this, we'd be checking to make sure none of the herd wandered off in the snow. With just Emma, I guess we don't have much to check. Well, let's go to bed. We'll be shoveling out tomorrow for sure. Lying in bed, I listen to the whistle of the wind, and suddenly I hear a different sound. I hold my breath so I can hear better. There it is again, a deep bellow. It's Emma, and it sounds like something's wrong. I tiptoe into Pete's room. "Wake up, Pete! Emma's calling." We quietly creep downstairs and put our boots and jackets on. "Shouldn't we wake Mom and Dad?" I ask. "Let's check her first," Pete whispers. We struggle to the barn through the whirling snow, but even before we get to the stall, we see the side doors blown open and Emma's gone. Where is she? "Look, Pete, I can barely see Emma through the snow. She's heading for the woods." "We have to follow her, we'll lose her," Pete yells. The woods are so dark that we can't find Emma. "Emma! Emma!" we call. Suddenly I hear her moo. There she is. Sure enough, she's standing in a hollow. and deep in the snow. Come on, Emma, come girl. But she won't budge. Pete tries to pull her with the hitching rope, but she just looks confused. We've got to lead her to the barn. She must be getting ready to calf. Help me up, Pete, I'll ride her out. He hesitates, but when he sees I mean it, he gives me a boost. Come on, Emma, giddy up. She slowly turns and takes a step forward and then stops. She's shaking and her back's so slick I can barely hold on. Giddy up, Emma. Suddenly she pulls out of the hollow and starts walking, and she follows Pete out of the woods down to the barn. As we dry her off, Emma shudders and gives a bellow. She's starting to calf, Pete shouts. There's the hoofs coming out. I'll go get Mom and Dad. There's the nose and the hooves coming now. Before I can answer, Dad's voice surprises us. What have we got here? He calls as he and Mom enter. He takes one look and says, oh, she's calving all right and looks like she needs some help. Here, hold the tail aside. Dad grabs onto the calf's legs and starts to pull. Emma pushes and the whole head of her calf is born. It's all wet and glistening. Emma bellows so loudly that I shut my eyes. When I open them, Emma's calf is lying there beside her. The newborn is shiny and wet, and Emma gets right to work. She licks and nudges the calf until it wobbles to its feet. Emma lows softly as the calf nurses. Would you look at that, Mom says, a beautiful new calf. So, what are you going to name her? Dad asks. I think for a minute. Snowy, because she was born in a snowstorm. Well, Dad pats Emma and runs his hand down Snowy's back. Emma's warm and safe, and so's her calf. No sense of losing any more sleep. We'll check the two of them in the morning. Let's get back to bed. Pete gives me a good-natured shove, and we all head back to the house. The storm's quieted down, and my bed feels soft and warm. I can't hear Emma or her calf, but I know they're snug in the barn. Tomorrow I'll tell Mom and Dad about the ride I took. Then I'll ask if we can keep Emma and Snowy for good if I promise to take care of them. Maybe they might just say yes. The end.